Hi, welcome to the 6th episode of the New England Gal Knits podcast. I am Janet and I live in Massachusetts with my husband, our 2 boys, our cat, and our dog. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram at the New England Gal. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back, and if you're a new viewer, welcome to the podcast. So today is December 4th and it is quite chilly out. It's 32 degrees, 0 Celsius. And I have donned on my fireside pullover. I love this sweater. This is the first sweater I ever completed and it fits perfectly. It was a super easy pattern and it's knit out of Cascade Eco Wool. It's an undyed color and I don't remember the exact colorway. I'll try and locate it and put it down below. But because it's a bulkier weight on bigger needles, it knit up so quickly. I love the shawl collar and it's toasty warm. I can go out in 32 degrees with just the sweater and be completely comfortable in it. I just adore this. So anyways, I am feeling quite festive today. The holiday season has started and the decorations are up. I love this type of time of year. I love having the Christmas decorations up. I think it just makes our home feel warm and cozy. I have garland all around and bows, Christmas bows all around, and the tree is up. And my husband's not a huge Christmas person, and I put it all up while he was doing some yard work and clearing out the gutters, and he came in and he was like, "Looks like Christmas threw up in our house." Maybe I went overboard, but I love it. The boys love it, so I'm happy. I'm very happy and I'm feeling nice and cozy and festive and in the holiday spirit. So speaking about holiday spirits, jump right into my finished objects. So my first finished object are my Christmas socks. So I don't think I had even finished the last podcast, the first sock. I think I was working on the foot, but I am happy to say that these are done and they will be ready to go for Christmas. So these are knit out of the Yarn Jar in her Christmas Grouch colorway, and this is on her 80/20 base, and I loved working with the 80/20 base. I think that I prefer the 80/20 base over a 75/25 for socks. I just enjoyed and loved knitting on these, and I am so happy. Last year I was working Christmas night still on my Christmas socks, so it is nice to have these done and ready to go. So, and I have a second finished object this week too, and it's funny. I honestly, over the last 2 weeks, did not knit very much at all. I don't know, life got busy. I put in extra hours at work and all the boys' activities, and it's getting too cold for me to stand outside and knit at the bus stop. My fingers just can't handle it. So I hadn't done a whole lot of knitting, and this past weekend, I don't know what was going on with me. I was up at 3 o'clock on Saturday morning and 3 o'clock on Sunday morning, and so if I look tired and worn today, that is why. I've also pumped myself with a lot of caffeine. I have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee sitting here, and I'm trying to wake up because I have to go to work after this. So hopefully I will be a little bit more energetic and with the program after this. So anyways, this weekend I did a lot of knitting, and this hat, this is the Quill by Andrea Mowry. And this is knit out of the Fibre company in their Cumbria base in the Derwentwater colorway, and this was yarn that was left over from my Angelina pullover. And Saturday morning when I got up at 3, I had finished the ribbing. I had actually done the ribbing and a little bit of the hat 2 weekends ago, and I did not like the way the pearl bumps were looking on the needle I used, so I ended up ripping back and casting on with a smaller needle. So the ribbing calls for 6, US 6, which I used, and then the rest of the hat calls for a size 8, US 8. I didn't like it, so I ended up with using a US 7, and I love the way it came out. So I'm hoping that you can see the pattern. It's tough with dark yarn, but I'm hoping you can see the pattern. And I put my Fffabuknits pom-pom on here, and this is her oyster colorway. I'm gonna slip it on. Let's see how well I can do. So here it is on, and I love this. I absolutely love it. It is gonna be nice and toasty warm, and it's gonna be great for when I have to stand out at the bus stop or I take the dog out for a walk. And I love because it does cover my ears. I do like the thick ribbing as much as I hate knitting ribbing. Have I mentioned I've gotten no sleep all weekend? So I obviously can't talk either today, but I do not like knitting ribbing. I think I said that right. But I do love how long the ribbing is and how well it covers everything. So that is my second and final finished object. So I have, you know what, let me show you things that I had shown you last week. So in this project bag, and I can't remember, I think it's Project Bags by Mandy. I'll have to look her up on Etsy. It's been a while since I purchased this, but I love the little whales. Super cute. So in here, I do have a finished mitten. So this is the Woodstack mitten, and this is by Jane Richmond, and again it was in the Within book. And I love the way this came out, and I think I'm going to have to knit a pair for myself. So I finished up this mitten, and then I started in on the ribbing on the second mitten. So there's 3 inches of ribbing, and I probably have about 2 here. So another inch, and then I can start the pattern of the mitten. So these should be done in plenty of time for Christmas. So in this, again, it's knit out of, this is Wool of the Andes, and it's, as I've mentioned before, my mom and I dyed this color up a couple years ago, and I had promised her mittens, and this Christmas is it. She's gonna finally get her pair of mittens. So that is my first work in progress, and I am really happy the way they're turning out. And like I said, I am loving these. I have a skein of burgundy Malabrigo worsted that I think will need to become a pair of these mittens for myself once I have these done. So my second work in progress, this one I have not made a whole lot of progress on since the last time you saw it. So this is in my Pearl and Plum Patriots bag, and these are my Lang Jarwoll Magic, that's it, socks. And here's the skein, and it has purples and blacks and grays, and I don't know, I have the tag somewhere. It's one of those numbered colors, and of course when you're looking for it, can't find it right now. If I come across it, I'll always, as always, will have the information in the box down below. But, so I have the one finished one, which I had showed last week. And then here is the second sock. So I'm about halfway done the leg on this. I like the fabric, and I've talked about this before, it is a single ply. I like the fabric it's creating, but I do not think I'm a single ply fan at all. I'm not enjoying knitting with this. I find that for whatever reason, the tail in the working yarn every once in a while almost get felted together where I have to pull them apart, I think, from all the twisting and turning. So I'm not a huge fan. And then on top of this I knit on the car ride home from Thanksgiving. We went over my husband's cousin's house, and so I was knitting these in the dark, and I dropped 3 stitches as I was knitting them, which it happens, you're knitting in the dark. But I'm normally really good about picking up stitches and not being able to tell where they were dropped, and for whatever reason, I don't like the way picking them up. I don't know how well you can see that. It's kind of, well, it's just messy. So I had problems picking up the stitches, and I'm not quite sure why. I drop stitches a lot. I make a lot of mistakes and have to drop things down, so I'm normally relatively good at picking up stitches and making it look neat. And yeah, so here's the other one right here, and here's a second one. I don't know where. The third, I guess I did a pretty good job with hiding. But part of me, I think the reason these aren't done yet is I'm just not enjoying the single ply. But I have one sock done. I'm halfway done the leg. I just need to power through and get it done, because it would be silly if I'm already working on the second sock not to finish it and put it aside. I really try with my socks not to have any single socks laying around. I don't want to get into that habit and then have a million unmatching pairs of socks. So I have one more sock work in progress, and this one is being housed in another pearl and plum bag, and this one actually is a new bag. I just picked it up, and it is super cute with these little polar bears and little hats and scarves, and I love the polka dotted bottom, and it's got stripes on the inside, and it has a cute little pocket. So in here I am working on my younger son's, his Hufflepuff sock. So this is dyed out of, this is Knit Picks Felici, and I had dyed this in the colors of Hufflepuff, or for my oldest son they're going to be Bruins. At least it was the same color. So I wanted to do something different. I have always knit my socks cuff down. I've never done a toe up. I don't know why I was so scared to try toe up socks, but maybe because I was always afraid of how I was going to measure out the heel of the sock and know that I've knit the foot correctly, because typically what I will do is I'll knit the cuff down, I'll do the heel, and then I'll just knit the foot, and then I'll keep trying it on, making sure that they fit before I start the toe. So I did these, I started these toe up, and I have to say I absolutely love knitting it this way. I like the Kitchener stitch. I find it very relaxing, it's very meditative. I'm not scared of it. I know some people aren't huge fans of the Kitchener stitch. I love it. I use Judy's Magic Cast On, and I love the way the toe looks. There's no, it's nice and rounded. There's no little points. It almost looks like my toes when I Kitchener have little ears. So I absolutely love this. So I'm doing this, the toe down, and I have just turned the heel, And again, fish lips, kiss heel. So I did end up making the cardboard feet. This one's mine. So I ended up doing that for myself and for my younger son. I still have to do it for my older son because he's getting the Bruin socks, but this is my younger son's socks so far. So, and this is what I've been knitting at night when we've been listening to Harry Potter, which is just perfect. I picked up, Target has a pair of pajama pants, Gryffindor Harry Potter pajama pants that they're super fuzzy and soft and warm. I absolutely love them. I honestly want to go back because I have a couple different prints, not Harry Potter, different ones, but they're so cozy and warm. I absolutely love them. So I may have to pick up a couple other pairs of them. But this is what I've been knitting on while my younger son and I listen to the Sorcerer's Stone. So this seems to be just flying along and I'm really enjoying knitting this. So, and that's it from my sock whips. And then next one I have in my Fringe Supply Company bag. And this is the, I think I said it wrong on my last podcast. I want to say I said Renee, but it's Reyna shawl. And it's a free pattern on Ravelry. And I am knitting this out of, this is Moonstone Dyeworks in her Haunted colorway, and this is on her Stellina sock. And this Stellina, it is so pretty, and I don't know how well you can see it, but it twinkles. So it's not heavily Stellina, but it just has this beautiful twinkle to it. So here's what I have so far. So it's kind of at that awkward stage where it's bunching up on the needles. Okay, yep, I do have it the right way. So I do love the way this is coming out. So I have one more garter section and another lace section, and then supposedly I'm done after that, but I'm thinking there just seems to be quite a bit left on the ball, so I may extend. So I have garter, lace, and then there's only a few rows of garter before you bind off. But I think what I might do is I might just keep doing garter until I come close to running out, just to make it a bigger shawl. I love big warm shawls I can wrap around myself. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is just kind of keep going on it until it is all the yarn is basically used up. I love this yarn. I love the way it's looking. I love the green and the pink and the orange and the black speckling in it. So I'm really enjoying this knit, and it's mindless. I can sit and knit on this and it's completely mindless. The pattern also, it's a free pattern. It is well written. It has a row count check boxes, which makes it super easy and you don't lose your place. And typically what I do is I, on an index card, kind of write out the rows and cross them off as I'm going on. But with this pattern, I love that it has the check boxes for you to just check them off as you go. So I am enjoying that, and this is great. Like I said, good TV knitting, not much thinking involved. Absolutely love it. Then my last work in progress, let me show you a photo. It is the Zweig. I'm not sure I said that right. I think I did, but the Zweig by Caitlin Hunter. And so I had some bare Felici yarn left over. I had 5 skeins, and I decided I was going to dye up some yarn for it. So I dyed up, so this is a green that I dyed up for the main body. And then what I wanted a cream, like a buttercream yellow to go for the lace work. This is going to be for the main body. I mismeasured the amount of dye I had in the stock pot. So it came out this gold. This is and it was much darker than what I had wanted, and I ended up throwing in some blue and red speckles on it. There were some brown speckles in it as well, but I think the brown ended up just getting lost with the gold. So, but you can see the blue and the red quite well. I have to admit, when it came out of the dye pot, I was disappointed. I did not like it at all. I hung it up. It's amazing because I think it was Molly from the Homespun House that said in one of her vlogs, I'm pretty sure it was her vlog and not her podcast, that the drying is when the magic happens. It is so true. As soon as this was done drying, I fell in love with it. I am so happy. I am so happy with the way the colors go together. I'm in love with this. So here's what I have so far. I don't have a whole lot done. There we go, this is the back. So I've started on, I've gotten the color work done. Now, again, I am not very proficient with color work, so it is not the greatest. It's not the prettiest, but I'm pretty happy with it for someone who's not very good at color work. I am very happy with the way it's looking, and I am loving the lace. The lace is so intuitive. It is so easily memorizable. I'm not a huge lace fan. I am loving this. This is just wonderful. I love the way it is looking. I did for the top with the green, I did not switch skeins. However, when it comes to the body of the sweater, I will go ahead and I'll use 2 balls and alternate skeins probably every 2 rows. Just because I think one of the greens is just a little bit lighter than the other 2, which I think if I end up knitting the balls separately, there'd be a line and it would be easy to see. So I'll go ahead and I will start alternating skeins when I get to the body, but I am loving this so far. I love the colors, I love the pattern. I have learned that I am a chart person. I have always tried to stay away from charts. I don't know why charts scared me so much. I preferred written directions over the charts, and I have to admit, between the Quill hat and the Zweig, still have no idea if I'm saying that right, I love chart knitting. Absolutely love it. So I don't know, I'm just surprised at myself, but reading charts to me seems so much easier than reading the written directions. So learn something new every day. So that is it for all my knitting that I've been up to the last. So I did purchase a couple things that I did want to share with you over the last few weeks, and I did already mention my the Pearl and Plum polar bear bag that I had purchased. I realized I didn't have any Christmas bags, so, and I wanted a Christmas bag just for the month, and I love her bags. The sock sacks are very reasonably priced, and the shipment, she's in New Hampshire and I'm in Massachusetts, so it took no time at all to get this in the mail. So, and I absolutely love this. And then I forgot to mention my Zweig sweater is in this beautiful bag, and I am not gonna say her name properly. It is, I think, Tanny Casey. I will, again, it'll be in the down box below. It has a wax canvas bottom, and then this is Rifle Company, a linen canvas material. It is strong and sturdy, and then it has, you know, the drawstring. I have it chock full right now so it won't close all the way. I love this. The quality is amazing. It has a pocket with grommets on the inside. The construction is amazing. And then the last thing I purchased was, I have been eyeing the skein for quite a while, and I kept going back. Here, but it's Once Upon a Corgi, her Peppermint Mocha colorway, and this is on the Marie Cutie base, which is her 75% superwash Corriedale and 25% nylon sock base. And I had at the New England Fibre show picked up another one of her colorways for my mother-in-law to give me for Christmas. Like I said, I've been eyeing this on her shop, and I've been for several weeks, and then I went in there on Friday and it was still for sale. There had been only one left for weeks, and I realized that it was just meant to come home with me. If it was still there after a couple weeks, then it was mine. So this will be for a pair of Christmas socks for next year, and I think there is a pattern, and I'll find the name and put it below, but it has lace candy canes in it. So I think I'm going to do that pattern with this yarn for next year, and I may cast it on soon. I'd like to get more Christmas socks. I love that idea of that Amy from Stranded podcast is doing with having 25 Christmas socks, so you have a pair of Christmas socks for every day in December up until Christmas. So I may try and do more Christmas socks throughout the year so I can have a few more for December. So that is it for all of my yarn and knitting purchases. I did though want to show you a tee that my husband picked up for me because I am absolutely obsessed with it. So I normally every morning I have Tazo's Zen green tea every morning, and the supermarket was out of it, and I said to him, just pick me up any green tea with peppermint in it. And he brought me back, this is the Republic of Tea in their peppermint bark flavor. So tasty. So it is peppermint and chocolate cocoa with vanilla, and it's not a green tea, it's a green, I think you say it rooibos, which is typically a red tea. However, I guess that if they leave it in the raw unprocessed state, it is considered a green rooibos, and it has basically the same health benefits as a green tea without the caffeine. But just gonna sniff it. Oh god, I wish you guys could smell it. But yeah, chocolate peppermint green tea. It is absolutely delicious. So imperfect for the holiday season. It is a limited edition, so I may have him pick me up another container. I can't complain. My husband, he does all of the grocery shopping every week, which is wonderful, and it's a huge help, although sometimes I wonder if he volunteers to go just to kind of get out of the house for peace and quiet, which is completely sometimes understandable, but it's a huge help for me, and I'm lucky enough I just make the shopping list, plan out the meals, and he goes and he gets everything for me, which is great. So over the last few weeks, with it being Thanksgiving, we've been super busy and running around, and I think that's why I didn't get a whole lot of knitting done over the last few weeks. For Thanksgiving, we went over to My husband's cousin's house, and his aunt and uncle were there, and his cousins have 2 children the same exact age as ours, and they all get along really, really well. The 2 younger ones are just peas in a pod, and they went off and played, and it was great. But I didn't do any knitting there. And then the Friday after Thanksgiving, well, we got our tree. Unfortunately, I didn't go. My younger son was running 102 fever. Still not too sure what happened or caused it, so I ended up staying home with him while my husband and my older son picked out the tree, and they picked out the perfect tree. It is absolutely beautiful. We go to a local tree farm, Sleigh Bell Tree Farm in Sutton, Massachusetts, to pick out our Christmas trees every year, and they never disappoint. Their trees are always absolutely gorgeous. So we ended up doing that on Friday, and just it was very low key because my younger one was so sick. And then on Saturday, so his fever broke on Saturday. However, I don't know what happened. He bit his lip. However, his lip ended up swelling 2 to 3 sizes. It was to the point where his upper lip was touching the tip of his nose. So we ended up taking him to urgent care on Saturday, and they gave him antibiotics even though they didn't think it was infected, and they didn't think it was an allergic reaction, but they had him on antibiotics and antihistamines just in case. So even though he was feeling better, he didn't want to go out in public to the ballet, so I ended up having to pull out this oversized sweater with this like mock turtleneck that kind of covered from here down for him to wear so that he'd go to the ballet. And then he's like, well, as long as we don't run into anybody I know, which ended up being, of course, when you don't want to run into somebody you know. We ran into some friends, someone on my older son's soccer team there. His older sister was actually in the ballet. The one nice thing, we went to the Hanover in Worcester, and they used a lot of local companies for the ballerinas, so they were, other than I think the three or four main characters in the Nutcracker, they used ballerinas 18 years and younger from local companies. So there were actually a couple people from our town in it, so it was nice to see. It was a beautiful production, absolutely gorgeous. It certainly did not disappoint. My older son absolutely loved it. He says he wants to go every year, every Christmas as a tradition to go see the Nutcracker. He loved it that much, so I think we'll make that happen because I love it just as much. And my youngest son enjoyed it. Not probably as much as my older one did, but he did. He enjoyed it. I've also been baking every weekend, and I'll be baking every weekend, just a batch of cookies up until Christmas, and then I've been freezing them. So this way, you know, the weekend before Christmas, I'm not trying to do it all at once. But I discovered on Pinterest, because that's the place I go for my recipes, I discovered these chewy gingerbread cookies that are absolutely amazing. Everybody loves them, and my husband's like, can you bake a batch for my office party? And I'm like, okay, I will. And then I'm like, you know what, I'll bake a batch for my office party too. The cookies have not made it to the freezer. I don't think this batch is going to make it to the freezer. The one good thing is they were super easy to make, so I could even make them on a weekday afternoon. They didn't take long to throw together at all. So I may be making a couple extra batches and maybe giving them out as gifts as well. So I'm going to link the recipe below for you if that's something you guys like. I love gingerbread, and I love chewy gingerbread cookies. I'm not crazy about the ginger snaps. I'm always afraid I'm gonna break a tooth. I don't know why, but that's a paranoia. So these are just delicious. So if you want to check them out, and In the meantime, I think next weekend my husband wants me to make snickerdoodles. I tried making snickerdoodles 2 weeks ago, and they're not snickerdoodles. They didn't come out to be snickerdoodles. They're good. They're more of a tea biscuit, where they're a little bit more doughy and a round ball rather than the flat sugar cookie texture that the snickerdoodles normally have. So I'm on the hunt for a good snickerdoodle recipe, so if you find one, can you let me know? So that I can, because snickerdoodles is one of my husband's favorite cookies, so I do want to find a good recipe and make some snickerdoodles for him. So that's it with what's been going on here, and I hope everybody has a great 2 weeks ahead. And I will see you about, I guess it'll end up being the week before Christmas, but until then, have a great 2 weeks. Bye!